Now we're going to take a look at file assets, page content types. So file assets and page content types, how are they set up and how do they differ from the regular content types that we are going to create in the system? Okay, so here for content types, we come here to types and tags. We click on content types. And I am going to right now just search for the content types of each one of the ones that we're going to discuss in order. So the first one we're going to do is cover file content types. Now you may say, well, why would you need a whole bunch of different file content types to be used to create content? Well, because you might have, let's just say you might have a huge video repository or something like that. And if you click on video, you want them to upload a whole bunch of videos, and maybe the videos need thumbnails and they need, you know, some special data, maybe a length, you know, and things that other files don't need. So you can actually create and, you know, drag and drop as many different fields as you need. You see our whole field list here on the right, as you need to control that type of file upload. Okay. So that's videos. And then if we look at our file types and we go to documents, this might be just a bunch of PDFs, but PDFs might really need to be date indexed. They might need to be, you know, version controlled. They, you know, they might need certain topic categories that differ from the videos. So this is where you can do that, and you can add those taxonomies and say whether they're required or not for each of those file types. We also, you'll notice, have some system fields that are associated with those file types that will automatically upload metadata that goes with those files. So if I take a look at here, let's just go ahead and go over to the site browser. And let's just set up a new folder. We will call it training. All right, just right clicking on my host, creating a new folder called training. I'll click that little show on menu and click save. Now I can see that folder. If I went back to my index page here, I would then see a new training folder. It doesn't have any sub items yet, but that's how you control that. With one little checkbox adds another item, you know, to your menu. And of course, you can permission control that, right? So I've just added this directory. Now maybe I'll add another folder called images, right? And then we'll upload our files there. And that I probably wouldn't do a show on menu on something like that, right? This would just be a little image repo. And so now if I wanted to upload file, there's 3 different ways to upload files, two in the UI here, and then one I prefer using WebDAV all the time, which for just a simple drag and drop to the server from my local machine. Here I'll click new and add one single image or file so we can examine the metadata on those files. Now, whenever you create a folder, here, let me go back to this folder properties. You can actually set what's the default file type that'll be suggested for that folder. So it's file asset. I could have changed that to any other file type that whenever you upload it specifically here, that then it's either file assets or documents or video. It's file asset by default. So I'm just going to leave it like that. If this was a folder that said documents, then maybe I would have configured it to the document file type. So I'll add a new file. But the user can, if they have permissions. If they don't, then they won't even see the other file content types in this list. Then you know, they could make a different choice and say, no, I actually want to upload a video to my images folder, if they have the permissions to do so. Right. So I'll select that file content type, and now we can see the fields that were on that content type we were just examining on the back end. This is the actual content fields, right? So it has a host or folder field that's automatically set to I'm uploading to the images directory. This file becomes a child of the images directory, and instantly once I click save will adopt permissions. Whatever role permissions are on that images directory will then be adopted by saving the file to that directory. I can click on file asset and upload a file. It'll automatically glean not only the file name and the title, but it also gleans some metadata from the file I upload. So if I go ahead and click on my desktop, I've got a little demo files here. And I just took this, actually, this little birthday cake August 17th of 2017. I baked a cake, took a picture of it with my phone. It has some, metadata from 2017. I can save and publish, and this is my system workflow here. All workflow buttons are totally configurable so that any user will see exactly what you want them to see here on the right hand side. I can click save and publish that to my system, make more changes if I wish, and the workflow can either close this content window or leave it there for more editing. So I've added this content to the system. I open it back up, and here is my metadata. We have purposely toned down on how much metadata is automatically been gleaned in the system, although it could be, a few pages long, to comply with some new European rules on, automatic storage of uploaded user data. So we try to make sure that we're compliant with all and in our default settings for sure, of all of those GDPR, rules. So you also have permissions on every file that you can then, permission individually and change the permissions to these assets. And there's a complete history that even shows me if if this was a logo or if it's an image. Every single version change that I make to those images is recorded. The user is recorded, the modification date. And if I had multiple versions of this file, then it would also allow me to bring back any version through the historical history. And in addition, if I have a push publishing environment set up and I have pushed this image over to my staging or my production server, it gives me the complete push history as well, so I can see when this was pushed and when it was updated on any environment that I happen to be managing, right? Okay, so that is one way to upload file. You can also right-click on any file and upload multiple files. And if we just want to do a drag and drop of files, we can also do this we have in our documentation here a protocol called WebDAV. And we can, let's see, we're working on this site. I think somebody's rearranging the the dotCMS.com site with site search. So here, if we hit content contributor and files and folders and WebDAV, here we go. Yeah, we are getting ready for our 5.0 release, so we're right now doing some things on our server. So here is WebDAV and how you can set up WebDAV in multiple different ways. So you can actually use WebDAV on your Mac just using Finder, or you could upload a third-party software. There's one third-party software which everyone seems to prefer here, which is called CyberDuck, and it's got the and it uploads. It has many different file protocols for uploading to servers, FTP, WebDAV, different protocols for uploading and handling files. So no matter what platform, there is a methodology for drag and dropping multiple files over to your server. So if I wanted to connect to this server or another server, I can just go to my connect to server here in my Finder, and then you can see I have many different files I've uploaded and many different connections to many different servers. And this is our format: your domain /WebDAV, and this is all in our documentation. Whether you want to, it's live or working, published or unpublished, and the language version, right? So I can connect and say whether I want to connect, and now I'm instantly on this server. And here I can then see that training directory, and I can grab that image and drag it down locally to my desktop, or I can grab files and drag it over to this folder. So if I dragged, let's see, I'll grab boat on a lake here, I'll drag that over. And now that's on my server, and I could do one file, I can do many different files, and all I have to do is update here, and now I've got boat on a lake already published, because that's how I configured my, depending upon the permissions of your user, you could set up a WebDAV connection for them that goes along with the permissions. Either it's /live, which allows it to automatically publish the files that they upload, or /working, which would just save if that's the only permissions they have. You don't want them getting denied whenever they drag and drop, right? Okay, and then you can see the file is fully uploaded, the metadata is there from the file, shows the height, the width, the file size, all that good stuff. And there's my image. There's also an image editor whenever you're uploading files. So if you have any binary fields on any of your content, you can just click on it, and then you can grayscale the image for an artistic effect. You can rotate the image, flip the image. I kind of like the flip there. Resize it with a slider, or resize it with an actual pixel width. Do brightness, hue, and saturation. Crop, and crop only a portion of it. You can do many different things there. It's not I can even clip that into clipboard. It's not Photoshop, but it kind of gives most of the basic tools that users need whenever they're uploading things to dotCMS. Okay, so that is really all for the file content type. Although we looked at several different file content types, we could, if we wanted to make a new file content type, you click here and just make a brand new file content type and then start adding fields. We're going to start adding a regular content type, and we're going to add fields in just a second. So, but you can create any type of content type you wish, and then give your users permissions to then add content using that file, widget, form, page content type. Okay. So now let's talk about page content types. Why would you need different types of pages? Well, one of our clients is one of the, if not the largest sporting goods and representing athletes and brands and fitness in the entire world. And they said, we need to be able to create custom pages where on every page there's a different Facebook link, a different Twitter account, because we represent athletes and we also represent different brands. So we said, sure, that's no problem. You can either take the existing page asset, and here is what a page is in dotCMS. It really doesn't have to have content on it at all. It can have just properties, a title, a URL, a host or folder field where it actually lives, a template that lays out the content that is actually linked to the page, advanced properties like metadata, a friendly name, a redirect URL if you want to redirect after the page, kind of its usefulness has expired, a cache time to live if you want to control page cache, show on menu, HTTPS required, and here's your SEO and your page metadata, your canonical URL. But if they said no, we need Facebook link. Okay, well then here, let's just drag another field, and let's just call it Facebook link. You could even add regex validation and say it has to be, a URL pattern. It's required user searchable, and it'll show in the backend list, whatever you want to do. And that's the way they ended up adding individual social networking links on every one of their pages, that whenever someone went to click on those links, they could represent their brands and their athletes, right? So I'm not going to add that to our pages, but we could. So if we wanted to contribute a new page, now this page is set up for, the page is just some properties, and then you link it to a template. The template provides the layout, and then there's some containers that are used by that template, and then the containers format the content, the users add content to the containers, and then it all comes together on the fly like a jigsaw puzzle. Or you can also, what if you want to combine the idea of content and your pages? And that's what our landing page does. And what it does is it's kind of like a banner page where the banner actually exists here, which you can drag any of these fields on the right you wish and make them part of your content type. So it's got this banner field added, and it's got the hero image for the page. And then there is a template that automatically senses that banner being set, and then will automatically kind of, whenever you create the page, load the banner as well. So let's take a look at what that looks like if we were to use this page as opposed to another type of page. So let's go back to our site browser, go to that training folder, click New and Page. And you can see page asset is the suggested page, but we're actually going to do the kind of one-off type of page first, and we'll pick landing page and click select. And this is what a landing page looks like. And you can see the banner field is just a binary field right here. So I will choose that binary field before I forget to do so. And we'll pick that same boat on the lake picture, and this time we'll load it directly into the content. And I don't know, boating campaign, boating landing page. And here I put my title. It's obviously going to exist in the training folder. It automatically grabs an SEO optimized URL. I love fishing and boating. There's some caption, I don't know, Swan Lake. I don't know, something. And then I'll choose a template. Now there is a template that's already kind of designed to go with us, and that is our landing page template, right? So I choose my landing page template and I save and publish this new page. And there it takes me to the page that's already got a little form on it. It's already got my title and my caption and my comment right there, and it loads the banner for me. So then I can go ahead and click edit, and I can add content to the container of regular content, widget content, form content. So it's just an example of the many different things you can do with pages. You can combine the content with your page if you wish. So just a simple example. And now what if we wanted to create just a regular page? Let me just create like a welcome, a welcome page. So I can click, right click on the training folder, click new and page again. This time I'll do a regular page asset, and I'll call this a training home. And it automatically creates it reacts to whatever I set in the title. So I could add something else. Click down here, and it doesn't change it automatically. I would have to create a new one, but if I wanted to add that, I could go ahead and add that onto the URL, and I could also manipulate the file that's actually doing this code to react and change it with that as well. Here on the template, I'm just going to type 2. All of our drop downs are automatically searchable, so that you just start typing and it'll automatically, if you have 100,000 templates, it doesn't really matter. It's just as fast to find 100,000 or 5. So I'm going to click the 2 column with side nav, and I'll save and publish that. And what that did was that actually connected a theme and a template with my page, right? But once again, here I'll click on our edit mode. We have an edit mode, a preview mode, and a live mode here on all our pages. We can lock our page, so while we're working on it, other people can't get into it. I click edit, automatically locks my page. And then we can see the 2 containers that template uses. All right. If I click on properties, this is going back to the page properties, and this is all my page is. There's nothing on my page. I can connect things like a template right here to my page. I can connect, my template connects containers to my page, right? 2 columns worth of containers. And my template lays out my page. So if I actually wanted to click here and I see what the default layout is for the template that I just chose, I can click here and I can see the side nav. I just clicked layout right here, right? I can see the side nav, and then I can see the main container, but I can totally, as a content contributor, if I have permissions to change layouts, then I can drag around the containers, add more containers if I wish, reposition these, choose a different container that I have permissions to, otherwise I don't see it here. Just add whatever container, click save, and then go back to editing my content, and now I see a completely different layout. I can then add content to my pages, and this is where I'm linking that content to my pages, right? So I can take a look at the different types of content that can statically be added to that container that I just added, by manipulating the layout, and search for something. I'll take this Bear Mountain description that's reused from my content repo. And I'll click content over here. And maybe this time I want a news listing. Or maybe I'll put an event and select one of these. So I've got this event right here. And maybe I decide that, I don't like the way that looks. I want the event maybe over here on this little side app. Now, hopefully this container actually will accept events. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't. But let's see. We could add this over here. And now it takes whatever styling is on my container, and then it automatically restyles the content to fit the way that the webmaster said that container should lay it out, right? And if I think that this is a little too wide, I don't like the layout I just did. Okay, well then let's just go ahead and take this, shorten up on this container over here, drag it over to the right, maybe make this one a little wider, save that. Maybe I don't like the actual theme. I can go ahead and change, my quest. I can change my quest to a ski resort theme, and apply, and save. Go back to my content, and now I've got my content on a ski resort theme, right? So, I don't like that. I can go back to my layout, change it back, change my ski resort back to quest, and flip the themes on the fly, right? Which is really cool. And I click save, and then I go back to my content. Now I'm back to that. I can go ahead and add widget over here. Let's see what's allowed in this one. Here we go, YouTube widget. So I can say, here's this guy talking about the Standard & Poor's 500. And what would that content look like over here? I can drag this video over here to this main area, and now it's much bigger. Obviously it's fitting the width. Or if I can drag it over here to this area, as long as the container is set up to allow that type of content, and very, very easy to manage all of that type of content and drag your content out and totally customize the layout. So content publishers do not have to create pages in dotCMS. They do not have to bother a webmaster to be able to customize the layout to fit their content, as long as the webmaster creates the containers in a way that places that content in an expected way, which we certainly train them to do. Whenever you place content on a page, you've got an edit mode, a preview mode, and a live mode that actually takes the different tooling that's available on those different areas and hides it. You can shorten up on your view on the side nav over here to get a better view of the page, and you can look at the live latest published version of that file as well. The last time I published it had a different layout, and it goes back to that different layout. I've got a preview, and now I can see my page here with the new layout that's in draft form, And then if I wanted to save and publish my page, then I can take a look at my live, and now that's the latest version of my page. This is what is now publicly viewable, right? I can look at my page in any language that I have configured on the back end. I can look at my page, on an iPad Pro, see what it's going to look like, and get a device type preview of the page that I've just created, or take it down to maybe Samsung Galaxy 6, see if my menus are still working here, and whether my responsive design is being cooperative with that device type. Go back to desktop, and you can also take a look at your personas here and get a view of what that page will look like if you have personalized data that is, pulling according to rules. That has to be set up, on a site-wide basis or even on a page basis. And if you look here at the properties, you can set up rules on a page-by-page basis for the behavior and the personalization that you're trying to target on even an individual page or the complete site. All right. So that is, going back to our agenda, that is file and page content types, a real quick shotgun view of those two different content types.